The Shooting Range. In this episode, pages of history, the American workhorses of the 1950s, triathlon, heavy tanks put to the test, and metal beasts, the German fighter serving in Scandinavia. The Messerschmitt 109, the icon of the Luftwaffe, one of the most famous World War II planes, and the most mass-produced fighter even today. It's actually even strange that we haven't got to these amazing machines earlier in the Metal Beast section. Time to fix this. Please welcome a fresh addition to the game, the Bf 109 G6, found at the BR of 4.7 in the Swedish premium tree. Much of what we're going to say today is true for the regular German Gustav, despite the fact that we're going to talk primarily of the machine introduced in the latest update. This machine is propelled by an inline 12-cylinder engine. The self-sealing fuel tank is situated behind the pilot's seat. The steel plates and armored glass increase your protection. The weaponry features a 20 or a 30mm engine cannon with a couple of large-caliber machine guns. It also has gun pods to further increase the firepower, as well as bombs and rockets to attack ground targets. The Gustav will make any pilot happy with a variety of applications. The main tactic is to play the universal fighter role to establish air superiority. If that's your choice, make the machine lighter. Minimum fuel load, no gun pods, and a 20mm cannon in the front. With this kind of load, the Gustav achieves an excellent climb rate. Keep your speed around 270 kph, and a few enemies will be able to match your altitude by the time you meet. If someone decides to chase you, just climb even higher, and do it in a spiral to avoid being hit. When the enemy loses all the speed they had, flip upside down, and with the help of your flaps, and turn them into a mesh strainer. Once the daring climbers are done with, you can descend and attack everyone else with a significant speed advantage, repeating the trick if necessary. As for frontal attacks, you'd better be careful. If you spot a machine with heavy cannons, dodge them. Heavy fighters are an unnecessary risk that you can easily avoid when the Gustav is so unencumbered. With lighter ones, however, you might try your luck. Give them a short volley at around 2 kilometers away and turn aside hoping that the enemy will stumble into your rounds. If you feel like frontal attacks are your element, choose the additional 20mm cannons. You'll sacrifice your climb rate and maneuverability for a sharp spike in firepower. Now, if you're looking for something spicy, you can go for 3 30mm cannons. They have a smaller ammo pool and worse ballistics, but everything they hit turns into a beautiful explosion. Finally, the G6 will make you happy in mixed battles with a variety of its suspended armament. 2 110kg rockets, 1 250kg bomb, or 2 pairs of 50kg bombs. That's an ordnance buffet. During the late 1940s, the Americans launched a program to create a new line of tanks. The light T-41 became the M41 Walker Bulldog. The heavy T-43 became the M103. But the medium T-42 tank never became mass-produced. The idea of turning a light tank into a medium one proved to be fruitless. And on top of it all, the Korean War began. The army needed a lot of armored vehicles, and immediately. In such circumstances, they could do nothing but make more of the aging patterns. The M46 was a temporary measure, of course. It had a nice gun and a good engine, but its armor, well, it was poor even by the end of World War II. The M47, with its turret taken from the T-42, didn't look promising either, so the year of 1950 saw the development of a new tank with better defenses. This time it was the heavy M103 that served as a basis for the new medium tank. The two even look similar, as if the engineers simply rescaled one of them. Much like the M103, the M48 received a cast homogeneous steel hull with a hemispherical shape. Cast steel armor can't match the durability of rolled steel armor, but that was the only way to achieve such a complex shape. It also allowed for a smoother transition in thickness. The new tank had a reduced crew of 4, and the driver was relocated to the center. As for the turret, the engineers decided to keep the huge turret ring that was usually found on heavy tanks. Thanks to this, the combat compartment could be bigger and there were fewer vulnerabilities. So the M48 was even better protected than the M47 thanks to its geometry, and the mass turned out to be lower. Still, there was a rush to mass produce them before proper testing was done, as it often happens. Naturally, the first batches had numerous issues and required some polish. Thankfully, polish they received. The A2 modification got a reshaped rear. That's where the hump came from. It allowed the increase of the fuel tank capacity, finally solving the short driving range issue. Later models also received a diesel engine and a newer 105mm gun. Thankfully, the turret had enough space for that. Finally, 1959 saw the production of the M60 MBT, a further development of the M48 with improved frontal armor. It had the 105mm gun, the diesel engine, and the increased fuel capacity right from the start. When we speak of the M48 and the M60, we can't but compare them to the Soviet T-54 and T-55. They featured some great engineering and simplicity despite lacking the attention to detail some Western tanks had. The M48 and the M60 look huge and bulky compared to them. On the plus side, they provided more convenience for the crew, and their maintenance was way simpler. Most main units were easy to check, which reduced the time required to find an issue down to 30 minutes at worst. The engine and transmission block could be replaced in a mere 4 hours, even in the field. Not only that, it could be tested outside the machine, which was a dream of every Soviet mechanic. The M48 and the M60 became the workhorses of many nations, serving even today for some, despite the age. We've seen your pleas in the comments, so here we are, a triathlon among heavies. Please welcome the contestants: the American Jumbo with a 76mm gun, the German Tiger E, the Soviet IS-2, and His Royal Highness Black Prince from Britain. As is tradition, the first test will check the mobility of our contestants. To prevent everyone from falling asleep during the race, we'll shorten the track this time. The tanks take their positions at the start line and... go! The American machine accelerates ahead, but reaches its top speed soon after. The German and the Soviet crew creep behind, while the British one seems to lag. Almost no change is seen in the snowy patch. The British tank is barely visible now, and here's the finish line. Both the Soviet and German machines gained speed to catch up with and pass the American one at the last moment. Wait, where is His Royal Highness? Okay, well, we don't have much time. We might ask Britain to send another crew in. The second stage will test the armor of our heavies. we'll use a Soviet 85mm gun to shoot at them from 500 meters away. The crews are allowed to show their best side to the shooter. The German tank is first to get hit. The turret seems to be fine, but there's a vulnerable area next to the gun. The very first round hitting it damages the whole turret. The hull is angled, so it's impossible to penetrate the front or the upper part of the side. The area above the track, though, becomes exposed. A hit there is likely to destroy the whole machine. The Soviet machine decided to angle too, but with its rear instead. Looks like it's worth it. Penetration is barely possible this way. Nevertheless, its crew is smaller than others, so penetrating the turret cheeks and the cupola leads to a loss. Here goes the American tank. Its turret is well protected. Parts of the lower glacis are penetrable, but the round gets stuck in the transmission. The most vulnerable part is the machine gun nest. Hitting it brings total destruction. The best armor today is found on the British tank. There's absolutely no way to penetrate its hull with a Soviet gun, angling or not. The only vulnerable part of the turret is a narrow line of the roof, and even that takes more than one hit. Time for Stage 3, where we give our tanks a chance to shoot back. We'll take 2 Panther tanks for targets, one with its front to the shooter, another with its side. Open fire. Everyone chooses the easier target first. The Jumbo, the IS, and the Tiger destroy it with the first hit of their ballistic capped shells, while the British tank uses discarding Sabo ones, so it needs another shot. Meanwhile, the American crew reloaded and sent a round at the Panther's gun mantlet. It's now damaged, but the tank has survived. Here's the German crew firing at the second target. Done and done. Their shells have a lot of explosives in them. The second to finish stage is the Jumbo, then the Black Prince with no less than 4 shots. The last one in this test is the IS-2, with its unbearably long reload time exceeding 20 seconds. Time to sum up? Oh, but wait. What's that spot in the distance? Oh, right. It's the first British crew finally making it to the finish line of the first stage. Now surely we can begin the award ceremony, and the Black Prince receives the Audience Award for its dedication and amazing armor. The bronze goes to the Soviet IS-2. Could have been better if it reloaded faster. The German Tiger received the silver. Its mobility and firepower are great, unlike its armor. And the winner today is the American Jumbo. With a high rate of fire, APC-BC rounds, reliable armor, and good dynamics, it's the most versatile heavy tank. Well, it's time to give our crews some rest, don't you think? Meanwhile, we'll answer some of the questions you asked us in the comments. The first question was sent by a player called Calvin Tay. Are there any controls where it will allow me to fire one rocket at a time in my U-405? Hi Calvin, sure there are. Go to Controls, Ground Vehicles, Weaponry, and assign some keys for Fire from the Main Caliber Gun and Fire from Secondary Guns. Von Millard Manalastas writes, will there be a Metal Beasts on the SB2C4 Helldiver? Hello, why not? There's much to tell about it, and we'll be happy to do just that in one of our future episodes. Another question comes from Suspicious Grenadier. Can we destroy a tank or ship by hitting it with our plane? Hi there, Grenadier. Yes, you can, but only in realistic and simulator battles. Moreover, the enemy needs to drive a very light vehicle, like a Soviet Gaz SPAAG. Acid Scourge Feroz asks, why does the Corsair have the W-shaped wings? Hi. The main reason is its enormous propeller with a whopping diameter of 4 meters. A classic wing would have required a much longer landing gear unit, which is a tricky thing to implement, especially on a deck-based plane. And the last comment for today was written by Tubbles. Why does the German M41 Walker Bulldog get heat while the American doesn't? Hi Tubbles. The availability of rounds depends on their real-life counterparts. The American tankers used rigid and discarding sabot rounds, while the German army decided to add some Heat FS rounds to the ammo pool. That's it again for today. You've been watching The Shooting Range by Gaijin Entertainment, and the next episode will premiere the following Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern Time. Subscribe and click the bell if you don't want to miss our next videos. You don't? Don't forget to leave a like. I know you do like them. Share your thoughts and comments, and we'll see you next week. And remember, the Black Prince may come for you when you least expect it.